Hey guys, tonight on California Haunts Radio, my guest medium Nancy Matz and I will be talking about ghost investigations and dealing with ghosts that have regrets. We'll be right back. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust, turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Well, look at that. It cut me off. You never know what's going to happen with these things. Good evening, everybody. My name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California. We are 45 strong up and down the state, so that means if you have a paranormal need, we can definitely get to you. California, however, is a really, really huge state, so it may take us a couple days to get out to you, but we will. And in the case that we can't get out right away, we do have psychics on the staff, mediums on the staff who can phone you and talk to you about what may or may not be going on. And in most cases, if it is paranormal, they can calm the energy down until we can get out there and do our magic. Anyway, I want to welcome you all. You can find California Haunts all over the internet, mostly Facebook, because right now both our websites are being redone for just new stuff on them. New exciting stuff, and we're real excited about that. But you can find us at Facebook and just Google us on social media. You can either find California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team, or you can find California Haunts Radio, and there's contact information for us for both. All right, if you're watching from Facebook today, and a lot of you are, please feel free to hit that follow button if you haven't done so already, especially if you like what you hear and see tonight. I'd really appreciate it. Same thing with YouTube. If you haven't subscribed over on our YouTube site, please feel free to do so. You know, we've got more than 920 videos over there, and the role of this show. And we're trying to build up to our 1,000 subscribers for that magic number. And if you could help us out with that, that would be great. Also, that being said, if you like what you see tonight, and this goes for all the social media, including Twitch, if you like what you see tonight, please leave us a thumbs up, a heart, or a happy face. Because what that will do, and plus you want to comment in the chat room, because what that does is it puts us up higher in what they call the FYP, and that means there's computers that are looking at our numbers while we're on the air, and the more of that you do, the further out they throw the show, which means we get heard by more and more people, heard and seen by more and more people. So I'd really appreciate it if you would do that. One quick announcement before we get into what we're doing tonight is on Thursday morning at 9:30 a.m. Pacific, I will be doing Coffee with the Ghosthunter. I have been a ghost hunter for 18 years. I've seen a lot, and you're going to hear a little bit about that tonight too during the show. And I think I can answer most of your questions if you think you might have an issue with something paranormal going on at your home or work or whatever. So this is the way to do it. You know, it's $5 a person. You know, if we went to Starbucks to do this, it'd be like $5 a coffee anyway. This way you're doing it from your own home, okay? And you can sit there and put on good clothes on top, right? That's how people do meetings, the shorts or whatever on the bottom, you know, or do it, you know, your robe, whatever, you know, because it's morning and we're just having morning coffee together, and you guys can pick my brain, ask me any question, and if I don't have an answer for the question, I will go look it up, and then get back to you with it. Either at the next coffee sitting, or I'll send you a PM, you know, to give you the answer on it. So yeah, so I think it's a pretty cool deal, and that $5 goes to expenses to support this show and the ghost hunting that my team does. Because no matter what it comes down to, we are a ghost hunting team. Okay, all right. If you can find that link, I believe it's below the description of this show, and if it isn't, just cruise on over to the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team meetup site, and go to events, and you'll find it there. Okay? All right. Tonight's topic, interesting topic in that this ghost investigations, you know, having a ghost with regrets, is more common than you would think it is. I've got a story to tell, maybe a little ways into the show, about a particular case that we did that was very involved with a ghost that, in fact, did have really, really super big regrets. And it turned out good in the end, but it was really confusing to handle the case in the beginning. We had to sort through it all. Not only do we have to be counselors for the living, sometimes we have to be counselors for the unalived, and and it can get involved. There's a huge responsibility for paranormal teams to go into somebody's house or somebody's business, because you have to be aware of what's going on with everybody in the house, including spirit kind. All right. Anyway, without further ado, Nancy's going to come on. We're going to be talking about this tonight, and I hope you guys learn something. It's educational. I hope you guys learn something and you enjoy it at the same time. And please, if you come into the chat room, please participate, and chit chat with us, because we really like to talk to you. Okay, here we go.
I really enjoy this format. Shar and I kind of bantered a little bit. I had a little time today to think about ghosts and regret. I've been kind of busy with family stuff, but I did spend a little time, and I did remember some sessions that I want to bring up. And this is on the heels of a show I talked about, a movie, Ghost Town. And I might have been short of time, and I should have maybe explained a little bit more about ghosts and regrets. Spirits can also have regrets. And then there is and I want to go and just encapsulate this real quick. A spirit is somebody passing over, and they're unhappy with their life situation. They're, oh my God, I died. Oh, I wasn't ready to die. And this happens a lot. Every time phone calls and someone says, I want to talk to you, I get so excited because I get to blend with somebody. And I have where's that card behind me here? Let me, Char, say something, girlfriend. I'm going to read you something.
Well, as Nancy was saying, there's certain types of ghosts that do this, but there's also, like the case I'm going to tell you guys about tonight, that's kind of different.
Okay. And I was actually looking for this. Entrance to another soul is always a sacred honor. And I'm not positive, but East West Bookstore had an artist there, and I've kept it in plastic because I want to keep it beautiful. And it says, entrance to another soul is always a sacred honor. And there's two of them. I had the card and this. And right at the moment, they're not up in the house, so I can see them. But I found it, and I went, oh my gosh, I have to share that, because you're allowing me to be part of you. And that's one reason people pick me. They say, what's my boyfriend thinking? Now, please don't everybody call me on that. But also with that, I can step into dead people, or people who they're dating, or dynamics of family. And because I do this, listen, I'd sell it to you for a nickel if I could figure out how I do this. And so I want to make sure that this solicitation for you to call me, it's a diagram of what can happen. I've been doing this for 33 years, known Sharp 20. I think we met 95. Oh, hi, Jerry. Yes. And it's like, and I was doing cemetery tours, talk about stepping into a dead person and talking about, oh, there was ghosts there that were so stuck and everything. It was just, and then we're going to apply this little bit of time and talk as fast as I can to cover the things that you might be interested in, because this unknown world that I venture into is part of us, and it's only a breath away. When I talk to people around the world, I have a client in Singapore. I don't do phone email readings like I used to. I was taken advantage by sisters or cousins. And I wrote both of them. I said, it's interesting that both of you are attacking me, wanting more and more and more. And it ruined me. So this one client, I must be talking to her 12, 15 years, somewhere in there, in Singapore by email. How is that possible? And all her family and her cat is just a wonderful. She's a book all by herself. It's an amazing woman. Just if you hear this, Z, I'll call her the letter Z, so she'll know I'm talking about her. If you hear this is a compliment, sweetie. And she's got family dynamics that are kind of uncomfortable right now, and I hope that we can help her. I want to go to each and every one of us. Everyone that takes a breath today, you're wearing the garment that has the flesh to it. You're just wearing this thing. At my age, I'm wearing it out quickly, but I love what I do. And I've talked to Char about retiring days. I get tired if I've talked all day, like 3 or 4 hours a day. It's a lot now for me. And yet when I enter, blend with someone's soul, I will sometimes say, "Oh, you want to retire? Tell me what you're going to do for your retirement years." "Oh, maybe I want to garden. I'd like to read a book." And then when I blend with their mind, there's all this firing. The brain is alive. And I go, "Oops, I need to tell you something, young lady." And everybody's younger than I am. You're going to retire at 60, 65. I'm still older than that. I go, "You have electricity. You're so alive in your brain. I really want to encourage you to look at the world and say, what haven't I done? Have you created a bucket list? What are you expecting out of the rest of your life?" And people, we don't think of that. And I'm also guilty. I talked to someone just a few minutes ago. She had a bad day at the office. Oh my gosh, and it reflected back to me. And we're so guilty. Oh, I'd love to do this. I'd love to do that. And yet we don't get to it. Well, never on someone's deathbed have they said, "Gee, I really love working." I really, even though I want to travel the world, I have a child that's traveling around uh, Spain right at the moment. And so it's like that child wants to see the world. Go ahead, see the world. That's fine. If you got the dollars, that's fine. Do it. And we need to put that bucket list together. I don't know how many are listening and talked to them before. I say, "Who are you?" And people go, "Well, I'm so and so, and I work. I do this." I says, "You're telling me nothing about you." And when they're dating, I say, "You have to declare who you are as a person." In doing that, they will come back and say, "Oh, there was something I have never finished doing and I need to finish doing." I says, "When you have a partner coming into your life, they want to know who you are. Well, you better demand the same of them, because you could get someone really boring, or you get
Um,
someone that fulfills you."
along
Huh?
that line, you and I had a conversation when my father died,
Oh,
and
I
you
wasn't going to
you
bring that up, honey.
and you knew nothing about it. Remember, because I never told you about what his dream was and his bucket list dream was in his life.
Okay, okay.
And the day he died, after my mother and I, sat with him for like an hour, we went to grab
Oh,
some dinner,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
called
yeah.
Nancy and I said, "Well, he passed away." And Nancy says, "Oh yeah, he's in China."
I do remember that.
And I said, "Really?" And she said, "Yeah." And the thing was, my dad's bucket list was that he wanted to go see the Great Wall of China, and he wanted to take a boat on the Yangtze River. And so I guess when he finally left his body and realized that he could move around again, and do things and go where he
Yeah,
wanted,
he was
that's
very
where he went.
disabled, everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
within minutes. Yeah, within hours, he was in China.
Well, that doesn't say a lot for him not being around you guys, but he was in China.
Yeah.
And uh, I don't know how I know things. I was shown something that represents China to me. Might have been the
Hmm.
Great
Hmm.
Wall. It might have been something, something.
Right.
But a lot of times we do those things. But as a flesh person still, I'm still in
Hmm.
my body. So are you. Those of you who are listening to me. In the flesh, we get to enjoy on a different level.
Hmm.
Yes, ex-husband went to China, got on the Great Wall, rode his bicycle. Great. That's an event of feeling. Anyway, flesh and drinking. This is fresh coffee. Oh my gosh, the smell is wonderful. Of course, I put caramel in it. I've only taken 5 more minutes of this, and so you were saying, okay, now get back to the ghost thing. The point is, I don't want you to become a ghost. You who are listening to me, and we live so differently. You chose a body at the moment you're in right now. You
Hmm.
chose this life experience, the people around you. No, don't write me that you lost a child at 2 years old. I'm a great grandma. I just bleed for everybody. I try to disassociate emotions so I can help you, but yet my heart is very soft and I bleed for everybody. But the thing is that while you're here, go for the gusto, breathe deeply, look at leaves, because now we're going to get into something more difficult. I had a lady call me, and her mother had passed away kind of young. She might have been 30, 30, say 30, 32. Her mother was 52 or 53, and the mother was just hovering around her. And I can't remember her name. I'm not going to embarrass it, whoever this is, because it was a
Excuse me.
month or two back. Anyway, So I stepped into the mother. I talked to the mother and I said, "What are you doing? You're not letting your daughter breathe. I know she's grieving." And she had regret. She was a spirit still, not a ghost. And so we have a conscious spirit, recently deceased, didn't want to go. I think the mother was 52. Did I say that already? Pretty young. And she hadn't done what she wanted to do. She'd been married, I think recently left her husband, a little overweight, a clerical job. If the daughter's listening, I hope I'm not giving too much away. So the thing is that the mother had regrets. Pretty hard because I had cancer. I got divorced. I got divorced at 40, got into this at 42. Um, you do these things because of life being so precious. We have to do what you want to do. And so the mother's message to her, this was regret of don't fall into a bad pattern with somebody. And she was cautioning her daughter not to get into a relationship that didn't work because she stayed in it. My generation and my daughter's generation, people stayed married. Now her daughter's generation, um, they live together, have babies. It's still a totally different dynamic. When I got married, it was a high new mass Catholic wedding forever. Well, cancer woke me up. I saw something, another potential for myself. And that's all I'm going to say. And so when we do our life, and when I thought of this lady, no disrespect. So this lady, mother was 52, 53, not much different than my daughter, a little younger, but the amount of regret as a spirit person. Now, the daughter somehow got the notion to talk to me. I can't remember if I talked to her before. Doesn't matter. But in some ways, the mother got her to find out that she had a message. And the message was this. Now, what had happened if she'd never got that message? The hovering around almost looked like a donut sitting on her shoulder. She was just all encrusted all around the daughter. So no wonder the daughter's going, mother, I'm grieving, but boy, her presence is so heavy around me. I think she was pretty intuitive. She had the feeling of this pressure all around her, like on her shoulders. And that's because the mother had wrapped herself around her head. And in some ways, that's being, Char would agree, the daughter's getting haunted by the mother because the mother had regrets and is trying to tell the daughter, don't get in a situation you're going to regret. And if she never got to get that message to the daughter, she could have gone insane, become a real ghost. And we're going to go and talk about spirit people passing. And then I want to move it up a little bit. I want to try and watch a clock because imagine I got 50 minutes, to talk about a topic that's as big as this, right? And so, the second one I want to talk about is a child that did die. He was a blonde, blue-eyed, 8 or 9 years old. And the parents had come to me. They had some belief. I think they were referred, if they're listening, I'm thinking about the ones in Santa Monica, San Diego direction, that direction. And of course you're grieving. I tell you, I know moms can understand this. The baby's bedroom was around the corner, and I would wake up in the middle of the night listening for the breath of breathing. And if the child was laying on her face, I would turn her over, or him. And so I remember that. And then when you lose a child, you put so much time, effort, love, and devotion. And then the child wouldn't let go of the mom. And the child was holding on to the mom. And in some ways, everybody says, when you pass over, you're enlightened. You get all the information in the universe. There is a point of that. But if the spirit doesn't want to go with the grieving person, you can't make them. And I remember telling you that I had a near-death experience. I was talking to my sister today and talked about that. And I've always downplayed it because it was like 30 seconds, right? But it was so amazing. I just turned 7. And how can I remember all these years? And it was a tall lady. I was such a tiny little thing, sickly. Don't look at me now. We all start little. But I was and I had my tonsils up. My mother gave me an aspirin before bedtime. And of course, I let out blood. And I remember holding this lady's hand and thinking, "Who are you? You're not my mom. Where's my mom?" And that's all I could think about. And she said, "You can't come with me." And I said, "I didn't want to." Anyway, you got my hand. And she pointed through the clouds, and she pointed down to the fountain in front of the place that we were living at. Two little kids playing. They were playing around the fountain. Both dark hair. My sister was blonde, white blonde hair, and I knew it couldn't have been me and her. I knew who it was. Well, I had grandchildren with dark hair. And she said, "You have to stay for them." I says, "Okay." What do I know? Okay. So I didn't understand regret. I didn't understand innocence. And I often wonder if children really do. Well, nowadays you have access to the most violent and death visioned TV that I have ever seen. I didn't even have a TV until I was 12. And that could be explaining why I didn't understand that concept. This little boy, kind of the all American towhead with big blue hazel eyes, just a really cute kid. Crew cut that grows out, so his hair kind of stuck out. I really can't remember. It's been a while. I just remember thinking I didn't want to talk about this one. He was just clinging to his mother. And I thought, well, do I put my mind to that boy? And it had been months since he died. And he was afraid of leaving her because she was so sad. Now, if they're given all knowledge of the universe at that moment, why is that? I'm going to be careful as I word this. I'm guilty of also hovering. I'm not a helicopter mom, right? But we hover around our children. Oh, don't move, go here, don't go there. You hold my hand, hold my hand. And so this youngster didn't learn as much physical independence. And so he's always clinging to his mother. That's not a wrong or bad thing. We're guilty of it, right? But he was afraid that if he left her, she would be unhappy. And so I put my mind to him and I said, you can be free of fear of your mother being unhappy. She will recover. And it's important for the spirit to understand. And then I want to point out, this is very important, they don't have to hear you. And that's where Char has to come in. When the spirit person has hovered around the person that they want to be with and give a message because there's regret, and they start going insane. And what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And they start going insane. I want to point out that regret is not of someone, like if I become a spirit person, I have regret. It's not someone else's problem. It's your own internalized issue. Like the little boy clinging to his mother. If I leave, she was going to be unhappy. The mother saying, "I had a miserable life. I can't let my daughter, so I'm going to tell her what to do now that I'm dead." Hard to talk to a spirit that's around somebody. So you get a call, she gets a call. "My house is haunted. There's something going on here." Well, it's not necessarily ghost. It could be a spirit that is trying to get you a message and you can't hear it. You know, if you sit down and relax and say, "Okay, if there's a spirit in here, why don't you give me a message with pencil and paper, do automatic writing?" Yeah, you could probably do that. Will you get an answer? Not necessarily. And then if that spirit isn't even your family member, but somebody else's, and they're trying to give a message to somebody else. It could be any kind of message at all. What cripples us in the middle of the night when you wake up? What do you think about for an hour? Does it make any sense? I got to a place in the middle of the night thinking, what am I waking up for? What is it I'm thinking about? Everything you think about, that solution cannot be fixed in the middle of the night. And then I'll say, okay, this is an issue. I'll wake up in the morning and think about it. Then I can do something. I can on the computer, I can make a call, but you can't do it in the middle of the night. That's how we have to resolve it. A spirit person doesn't have that option. They just hound everybody trying to get to somebody to listen to them because they had an issue. They never fixed it. They don't want you to go down the same road. Then when you have a ghost person, and these TV shows are very, I mean, I love them all. I do. And I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I do, I'll watch something like that. I put on pause or something about Gettysburg and the ghost there. Can you imagine being a ghost in Gettysburg? And they get this shadow, the spirit person doing a loop, and they're caught in a loop. And that spirit person, is it a ghost? Absolutely. Because in the midst of the battle, they don't want to get killed. No one does. But they're there to protect their comrades. So they're caught in the loop of getting killed and going, oh, I was supposed to save somebody. I was supposed to help the country. I was supposed to fight, fight, fight. And they get caught in this loop. Well, let me think, how do you go there and say rescue? How do you rescue? You wake them up and say, what are you doing? And I'm going with such compassion. I think, ask them, what are you hanging around for? And if they can tell me, if they can't, I'll keep talking. I go, how long have you been there? Are you even able to tell me your name? You'd be surprised how many people forget their name. Everybody, don't look down. But what pair of shoes did you wear today? Do you think we would remember? You know, if people I see in spirit, they don't show up. They show up without the shoes. That's the last thing I'm going to try to remember, my shoes, right? If anything, wear nice shoes every day, and then you'll always know you had at least good shoes on and clean underwear.
I want to add into this discussion here. We had a case out in Woodland, which Nancy consulted on, and I think 3 other psychics consulted on because it was really confusing. And this was a case where this older couple had been taken care of, and I think he had autism, the kid did, and MS. So he was pretty well bedridden, and the gentleman was seeing ghosts in the house. But both of the husband and wife were seeing ghosts in the house. Male ghosts in the house, really. But things were happening like poltergeist activity in the house, and they couldn't figure it out. So they were very religious, and right away they thought it was a demon, right? And as a paranormal group, it's our part of our job is to go in and debunk stuff, to narrow it down to where we can come up with some kind of plausible answer. So as I'm doing the walkthrough on the house, I'm looking up on the walls, and they've got a bunch of blessed religious icons up on the walls.
Yes,
I came out and I said, I hate to tell you this, but it's not a demon, because if it was, those wouldn't be up there. There's just no way. So it was really confusing in that I couldn't piece this thing together. What kind of triggered it, as far as the poltergeist activity went, was that I found out that the gentleman had but within a year, had a brain tumor removed. And I got to thinking about it, because his whole attitude, he was very forceful, very angry individual, frustrated with his life. And right then and there, I thought, okay, there's some poltergeist activity going on here, because he's got this going on. But I still couldn't figure out who or what this ghost was, because the autistic son would see this ghost.
Oh,
and
I helped you, and I worked on that with you. Yeah, I thought it was. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And the other issue was that the activity would only happen to the man.
Oh.
Any other negative activity was happening to the man. Okay, we get on down the line. We do our EVP sessions. I'm on the phone with Nancy. I'm on the phone with Karen. I'm like, I look like the president. I got 3 phones going, right? Trying to figure this mess out. And we finally get back out there, and Trish comes with us. And so I'm doing a dowsing rod session, and I discover that it's a younger gentleman. And there's a younger gentleman spirit in the house, ghost. And as Trish is talking to him, he tells her that he doesn't want to leave because he feels guilty. He feels guilty because he was a drug addict, and his family had lived on that property several years ago. And he got mad and wanted to get revenge on his family, so he burned the house down. And what he didn't realize was that his mother was in the laundry room way in the back when he burned it down.
That's really hard.
So he had these horrible regrets because because essentially he unalived his mother. So the next question that came up is, well, why, what are you doing here? Why are you still here? A, he was afraid to try to cross over because of what he had done. He had all that guilt. And B, he was afraid that this angry man was going to hurt the son.
Was the man related to the woman? Who are we talking about here?
No, the angry man that was taking care of the autistic son was his wife.
Oh, okay. So there was a dual problem here.
Yes, And this boy decided, I guess that's how he was going to make up for what he had done to his mother, and it upset him. Because probably maybe that's why he burned the house, and maybe he didn't get along with his father. Who knows, right?
Oh yeah.
But he was running interference because he felt that the man was going to hurt his own son.
Make up for the penalty, kind of like making it up, balancing the lady of justice, and she's holding up the weighing scales.
Right. And as crazy as it sounds, a lot of people will think, what we're saying is crazy. There's nothing wrong with, with thinking that what we're saying is crazy. This is what came down. If it comes out, Trish is probably one of the finest. She's one of Nancy's proteges. Trish is one of the finest mediums I know. And when all this went down, I believed her. So we're in this little room off to the side, on the side of the house, and we're talking to him through Trish. Trish is channeling him. And it was Monica and I and a couple other people, and we were trying to, again, like Nancy says, you have to delicately talk to these ghosts. And we were delicately talking to him, trying to convince him that everything was fine. We were here to handle the man, that nothing was going to happen to this boy, blah blah blah. And then I found, just before this, I found out that the man had gone in for another brain scan.
Ooh.
And he had another tumor growing, which is why
personality
he was having
change.
These issues. So when I'm trying to explain this to this deceased young man, hey, if there's something wrong with this man's head, he's going to get it fixed. We're here, we're going to take care of this. So it took probably about 35 minutes to convince him to start walking toward the light. In this case, and his mother was standing in the entryway to the light. He saw her clearly, and so did Trish. And it's very unique, and if I find the recording again, I'll have to play it here live on the air. I did not get a video recording of it, because the video shut down. Case. But the voice recorder was going. And Trish is sitting in this chair next to me, and she's channeling him, and she's him. And I says, okay, your mother's going to reach out her hand for you. Nobody's angry at you. It was a mistake. Your mother understands that, yada, yada, yada. And all of a sudden you see Trish reach out. Like she's grabbing the mother's hand. As he went through onto the other side, Trish did not stand up. She was pulled out of the chair. Pulled into an upright position. You could see it. And then when he finally went through, he released her. And you could hear the thud when she lands back in the chair. And right away, my reaction is, Trish, are you all right? Is it good? So this is, like Nancy says, this is a case where you have to talk to the ghost. You have to talk to them through, because regret's a horrible thing. Regret and guilt are horrible.
Yeah. So there's a gal that I was friends with for years and years and years. And tell you the truth, I moved out of state for a while. I wanted experience. Here's that regret thing. I didn't want to regret enjoying living somewhere else. And I got to Sierra Vista. I worked in Tombstone, Arizona. And I did meet Professor Gary Swartz. He triple tested me, on TV. It was amazing. And I kind of got the feeling like, okay, so I'm not insane. I'm not making this up, right? And in all of that, unfortunately, just before that, Sue's son was killed by a drunk driver. And he had crossed the street from Sue's family, and he had run across the street and got killed by a drunk driver on Watt Avenue across from the tire store. Anyway, the cousin of that family was a year or so younger, and he killed himself because of it. He killed himself because he couldn't handle the stress of it. And so the mother called Sue and I, and Sue calls me, okay. And this is one of these 8 books that I want to write. These stories are unbelievable. Oh, okay. If you like the show, make sure you put a thumb up for Shar. And then go to my channel, Nancy Matzpsychic, because I'm going to be talking about all the readings. I have too many thousands of readings I've kept. Can you imagine? In 30 years, I've been keeping track of these.
We have a newbie in the chat room. Yes, we can speak to the dead. That was the
Sometimes I
question.
don't want to, but I was born this way. And so it's a natural state of my body. Like I said, if I could train somebody, I would do it. But anyway, Sue calls me up. Okay, we got to go rescue Jason's cousin. And I went over there. I talked to this briefly, but it was one of them I thought I'd better bring up tonight because even though he committed suicide, I want to back up and be really sensitive. He was a teenager. Jason was 17 when he got killed by a drunk driver. And Sue and I just had a lot of tears. In fact, I get very emotional about this because I love everybody. And you can't help everybody. You just have to talk to the dead person. And Jason was a delight in spirit. You know, you can't stop it. He was wonderful. But the cousin had a really hard time, and the mother was sensing him in the house being in turbulence. Well, you killed yourself, fool. You know, and it was like, but yet he was so depressed. You couldn't go there. You have to go there. And so when we got there, I went into his bedroom, and he was in the corner trying to put on a new pair of pants. Well, he killed himself. And when you do die, there are all kinds of conditions, your body relaxes and you soil yourself. And he was caught up in his mother finding him with his clothes soiled, let alone that he killed himself. Can you imagine getting stuck on that? That was a regret of his own person. And so I went in there and it's like, so yesterday, it's almost unbelievable to me that how can I still remember the visual of this? He was a thin kid, and had his pants down, and he was trying to put a new pair on. And I said, "What are you doing?" And I says, "Don't matter. Just imagine you got pretty clothes on." And he ended up putting clothes on. And before we started talking, I asked Sue, I says, "Can I ask Jason to show up?" Yeah. And boom, there he is. He was already in the wings waiting for me to say something. Evidently, he could access time. I says, "You have someone here that's so happy to see you." And I made it a little lighter conversation, like, "You fool, you know, you don't do that. You can't do that. It's already done deal. You have to go from that moment on. You have to go there." And so if Shar had come in without me, she would say, "Oh my God, something's going on in the corner." There's how do I describe it for you people? A little bit of anxiety, darkness, twirling around. The energy's twirling. Can you imagine when you get real upset, your energy, and your brain fires, and you got this energy of yours, and it starts twirling like a tornado to me, and I can feel the rustling of it. That makes me want to look. And then for some reason, like I said, if I knew how to do this, I would send it to you for a nickel. Then when I see the person, and then I give visual description, which I always do. I will never assume anybody has somebody by them. Oh, it's your mother or grandmother. I don't do that. If the person, and this is how I keep my sanity. How can you get so nervous? And I always tell people, and Shar and I did a show where I was answering who's standing next to somebody. You know, it was wonderful. And they're either going to be there or they're not going to be there. I'm either going to see them clearly or I'm not going to see you clearly. I always say exactly what I see because you never are wrong then, right? And so I saw them and I said, "Sue, did your cousin look like, did the boy look like this?" And when I gave the description, then I knew I had him because Sue said, "Yes, you described him completely." And then that's when I said, "Look up. I want you to look at me." He didn't ever have anybody say, "Look at me," because he didn't know anybody could even have that ability. And he went, "What? Who? Where? Look at you? Oh, okay." Kind of caught him off guard a little bit. "Look at me. Come on, look at me." And I said, "Now look over here." And Jason was standing, remember, he's the deaf person also. I said, "Jason's here, look." And that was his cousin who he had been so depressed about. "Oh my God, it's Jason." I said, "Well, Jason's here to help you to move on and not get stuck in the corner trying to put new clothes on all the time." It never occurred to him he could stop. He got caught up in the regret, not of killing himself, but that he soiled his pants. How do we hang up on a little thing like that? Right? There's another suicide of a young man. And these particular ones I do remember. I had taught somebody who fell off a roof. Yeah, that's always interesting, but the turmoil of our children seemed to be what I also remember. Because I could talk about a gal who took care of both her parents, and they do show up in the house, but doesn't mean regret, right? So this young man killed himself in the house, and he had it. Gotta be careful. He had a thing about he did it in the parents' bedroom on their white bedspread, right? And it was to punish the parent that, and I'm not going to say more because I don't want anybody to think it through. He wanted to punish a parent. Guess what happened? The sister found it, not the parent. He had regret. Look what I'd done. I've hurt her. And so I had to talk to him. I says, it was part of the plan. You chose this life. She chose this life. It was already determined that you were going to do this. Now, don't write me and say that. I have to go there. I have to assume that we choose a life. I have too many stories of kids 2 and 3, 4 years old. I chose her to be my new mommy. Oh my gosh, I have enough to put a book together. 33 years of talking to people. Yeah. Too bad I don't have, I'm not a wealthy woman. I wish some days I wouldn't have to work. I could just put all my mind to writing every day. These stories are absolutely amazing. And so the storyline for that person was to learn something from this terrible event. And I really like her. She's going on now to a service. I call it service when you help other human beings in the world. So I was an energy supervisor. Well, that's not a service. That's kind of a boring job. So when I got cancer, got divorced, I got into this. And I quit the telephone company. And my kids called me up. What are you doing? You've had cancer. You don't have insurance. I did have insurance. Oh, that's all. And I thought to myself, well, if I'm going to die, I'm not going to go there to work at the telephone company every day. I want to be of service. So I got into this, and I really didn't think I'd live this long. And here I am 33 years later. God didn't want me. Got her into the job we've been wanting her to go on to. But I had to suffer cancer and a difficult marriage and divorce first. Oh, my goodness. So this sweet young girl was just a teenager and found her brother. And then he showed me all this regret. And what was curious, everything's curious, right? He showed me a lot of anger toward the father. Like they were worried about the daughter. They were mad at the son for killing himself, of course. But they didn't own it was them that he was doing this for. Now they turned that attention on the daughter who saw the boy. That was really hard one to work through because the mother understood and thought like I do, like this is his story. She learned how to overcome this, but she didn't know how to deal with the husband. And when we sat down, the boy showed up. I'm trying not to say too much because they're known. We had to go to a place of saying the story of the life. You chose this life, and this is what you chose. Now, it's too bad you're not going to get to grow up because he's only 16 or 17 years old. Again, that age group. And a lot of depression. But we got him to realize that we have a life, we choose a life for the experiences, not the lesson. Lesson implies bad and wrong. Experiences, because as Shar, when I did past life regression with her, she was tough. I tell you, this woman over here, this woman over here. When you do, and I've had a lot of training in this, and it's something I don't just get to, right? And she's not visual, she's a feeler. And she saw nothing. And so I had to go to a place of all sensory type of, and my brain was really working. I was really trying to figure it through. And it's the same thing. If you have to figure out how someone reacts to something to give it a better direction. And so Shar in a past life was a man. Okay, all right. So this lifetime, that lifetime as a man, he could have been very successful as a rancher, and it didn't happen. So he died with regret. So he popped into Shar. Okay, I see in this timeline, she took a lot of guff from her parents and sacrifices her life to do. Now she's into this and it's going to go good. I want that life. That looks interesting to me. And that's the word. They say it's interesting. Look what's going to happen to that person. Well, I wouldn't want to get eaten by sharks, but they had lives. Someone stepped into it. Do you know in that
Mhm.
lifetime I got eaten by a shark? You did. How did that feel? Wow, what a life. You jumped into a volcano. Why did you do that? Oh, I want to see what it felt like. So we choose lifetimes for the experiences. Don't think we're getting punished here. Everybody says, oh, the mud planet, everything's terrible and wrong here. Well, it is. It's a great place for experiences. The problem is that as a human, you forget some of the pledges and the awe that you chose this life for. You get out of your body. Oh my gosh, my gosh. Well, how about the young father that died of a heart attack after taking a really strong bike ride with his son? He leans over and he thinks he's in his flesh. He stands up and he looks at his body on the ground and goes, oh, fudge. Well, he's a ghost. He had so much regret for not being there for the son that when he did take a ride with his son, it killed him. And now he doesn't get to raise the sons. The wife went and married someone else within a year. So that ghost, I was never able to touch him. I've been watching him from distance, and I call him the man I will not say his name, because he will reach out because he wants someone to fix the problem. Regret all over the place. It's amazing. Regret is something that's within you, that you're about you. It's not necessarily about your spouse. That one doesn't have regret. It's you and the dealing. And when Shark is trying to if Shark got to that house, it's another state, and she'd walk into the hallway, she'd go, "Oh my God, this is black hallway. This is awful, awful, awful." That's because the ghost is in the closet, leaning, bowing his head. He's so regretful that he was never there raising the kids, and then he was there and he died, killed them. So that's really hard because when you go into something like that, I don't know if I could wake him up. And sometimes it gets really scary. And this is the next level that Shar and I were wanting to talk about. So we went from mild to middle to awful. And that is the interpretation that people feel they're seeing or feel a demon, because they get so distorted in their regret and their anxiety that, remember I said earlier what pair of shoes you wear today? Okay? They forget what their face looks like, and it can become very distorted. And I was talking to Shar about this months back, and he ended up looking like Leech from Munsters. Remember what they look like? I don't know.
Lurch,
They were
yeah.
so Lurch. Okay.
Lurch, yeah.
And so when you see these demons and monsters and devils, everything, those people have distorted their looks and their energy because they're so angry. And so when you get buffeted around, now Shar did get me involved with somebody months back, and we were talking about it. I says, "There's no ghost in there. That's that woman's anxiety. She's shooting that off like a cannon all around the room. No wonder there's so much going on. That's not necessarily a demon. If it's a spirit person that has gone insane, and then they're insane, and then they become more insane. And that's when all this distortion and ugliness in the body and it bouncing around in the forest on all four legs, and they're so desperate they can't figure out. And everybody says, "Oh, that's a demon." Not really. And what you have to do if you see it, go, "What are you doing? You're not scaring me. What is wrong with you?" With compassion. Come on, talk to me. What's going on? I was doing a show from a fellow back east, and they went into an insane asylum. And I'm a remote viewer. I was watching them. I says, "About 3 steps, take the right hand turn into that room." And George says, "How can you see where you're going?" I go, "Well, I don't know, but I just join you." And I says, "When you get in the room, look to the right, look at the ceiling. There's a insane person on the ceiling." And I said, "It looks like goo." They've lost their identity of their body, and they've clumped themselves to the corner, and it's vibrating with anger and frustration. Can you imagine? So it looked like tar pit gook. And I said, this person is so insane that the body is missing and the mind has turned in on itself. So if you weren't talking to me and you go in the room and you see this big blob and the little meter says, "Will Robinson, danger, danger, Will Robinson," and the lights go off and everybody's like this, they're picking up that negative energy from a spirit that's gone insane. Then what do? You have to be soft, compassionate, sympathetic. Sometimes I go a little stronger. Like, "What are you doing?" And it catches them off guard. I'm not yelling at them. I'm not saying, yeah, you want to start a fight, blah, 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 blah. The spirit person is saying, well, what are you talking about? And they lash out because they don't know any different. They're insane.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unfortunate because this is a life of experience. They're wasting time in spirit land to enjoy and reap the rewards and talk to everybody else's experience. They're so hung up on themselves and what they did wrong. They could lose out becoming their own grandchild, come back in their own family. That happens a lot. That happens a lot. We don't have to wait. I've read somewhere someone said, oh, they don't come back for 100 years. Excuse me. I've done readings that I know people could call in and say, and I've talked about this, coming back immediately if the life is taken and they can go. So I always encourage people to go to YouTube. One of the channels I love is Verified Stories of Children's Reincarnation. The other one is a channel called LMN. And do I focus on that only? No. As I've gotten older and been able to do this for so many years, I have flashes of my own life over and over and over. And I'm just a normal person. I've never been anybody famous or exciting. It's just normal life. And that experience is amazing. It's amazing to be just somebody who experiences life. And we grow in our energy vibration becomes more positive and more enlightened, and you move your way up. Remember, even Christ is at the top of the ring. He can see the levels of despair below him, but we cannot see the levels of reward above us. We're on our level of music. A spirit man told me once, he was a traveler. He liked that in the word travel. I'm a travel. I go from place to place. I said, what a life. I wonder what planet he was from. He was so intrigued by my fingers. And he said to me once, he said, and I wrote this up, that the world is music, and the filaments are now discovered that resonate in our universe. There was a YouTube playing the music of the universe. The energy in the universe plays music. And that caught to me one time that when we go insane, the music in our minds is out of tune. Those tuning forks and the bowls from Tibet.
Right.
You find one that resonates with you, that keeps you balanced. There's something to be said about music. I never believed that. I said, well, what does he know? And I now believe that illness comes about when our music is not mellow to our vibration. And we've talked of this. Haven't you met ladies and gentlemen? Ah, la, da, 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 la, 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 la. Well, their music is a different vibration, higher notes than someone like me. I'm very grounded, very solid, just very calm person. And so my music level is a little different. So when we become diseased or pressed too hard, our music changes. And so our body says, wait a minute, something's wrong here. And as we get older and we go to die, our energy just peters out. The music the notes disappear. It's a different way of looking at it. So the spirit says, oh, thank goodness that music's done. I'm going to go on and find another song to sing. Mm-hmm. It's a nice way to look at it. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got 5 minutes. Shar, anything else?
Well, I was just thinking as you were saying that, a guest that we're going to have coming on, I think he's coming on. I had heard somebody
That's
say
why we're on tonight. Someone couldn't go.
Yeah, as they run as they watch the death process of people who are dying, how it reminded this gentleman of a factory shutting down.
Oh,
That's what his.
That's very good.
Yeah. And so as you were saying that about the music, yes, and what's funny about that too is my father. It's funny you should say that. My father sometimes, I don't know if he studied this stuff or what, because he was into it anyway. And his whole thing was he would.
That's hard to believe when I know him so well.
Yeah,
I know.
I had to do a full investigation in this room for him. All the equipment was out. He was laying here in his bed with his tri-field meter and his recorder, and he was ready to go, man. Find out what was in here. But
it was only your uncle.
Yeah, and he would have this saying that he would look at people and he'd go, "That guy marches to a different drummer."
How interesting. That's true.
Yeah. And so with you saying that reminded me of that. You know, him
It's
go
an it's
him
a
looking at different people and going,
and I
yeah,
like that. I like the feeling of that. And
yeah,
time is controlled by the density of music, the notes,
uh-huh,
the atoms
mhm,
in the universe. How does that
mhm,
work? I don't know. But when the traveler told me that, one of the things he was attracted to was my light. And that um, when souls get lost, they say, I saw your light. And I
mhm,
think, I hadn't heard it like that. Well, the light is created by energy,
mhm,
and that energy makes a tone. So
mhm.
it's something to think about. How is it? And he said, I was attracted to your light, and there's music in the universe, so your body resonates a sound,
That's
and
why.
that makes you shine more.
Well, yeah, and that's why if you and I know people don't do classical, but classical music is the best thing to close your eyes and you can literally feel the musical notes as you're
Hmm.
sitting there.
Yeah. Hmm.
And that's your body resonating with that, with that musical note. Well, an example of that, Elvis Presley, when he was on stage, the guy
Oh,
never knew
oh,
how to dance. He never knew how to dance at all, but
he
he'd get
just
on stage, and what happened? You know,
the music, and
he'd be
he
moving
got lost
around.
in the music.
Yes. Yeah, you look at some of the Native Americans, right? When they used to
Yes,
dance, when they
absolutely.
do their circle dances, just African tribes when they do their circle dances, same thing. It's all about the music and how it feels in your body.
Resonates with you, and
Resonates with
that's
you, yeah.
called music.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
like that. I'm trying to. Um, by the way, we have a couple seconds. Friday night, I want to talk about the movie Soul, Soul. It was fabulous. And I saw it and I go, who was the helper? Who wrote this? Because it was implicating a lot of things I already talked about. It's about a man, middle aged. He's a music teacher in New York, and he's always wanted to be in a jazz group. His father had always wanted to be a jazz person also. But unfortunately, life got in the way and he could never make it. The wife, best intentions, also had the child. And she says, we have to have money to raise the child. And so he gave up his dream. Well, the young man, this child, now he's got some gray in his hair and he's probably 45 or something, and mother, all white hair. And he gets a call from a student saying, you can go and be in this band. He got so excited to be able to do this that he wasn't watching where he was going. He got killed in a pothole, stepped in a pothole. And from then on, I just really want to talk about this and some of the things, encourage people to go watch it. I don't watch a lot of movies. I buy them once in a while so I can go back and not forget that I wanted to see this. So I look forward to talking about it. And it's a lot of what we just talked about tonight and the journey
Hmm.
of realization of of your wishes, wants, hopes, and desires versus the unrealistic goal of what you want to do. I was actually training to be an artist. Both of my parents are commercial artists. My father worked for Universal Studios as artist to the starlets. You know, how fun was that be, right? And when I graduated from high school, I was going to go to college, and there was a college in San Francisco for what I wanted to do. Now, you don't laugh, everybody. I wanted to be a billboard painter. In those years, you and graduated high school in '66, January of '66. I was early, of course. And I went to college because they turned me down. I wanted to see if I could go to the school to learn how to do this. So when in those years you drive along the freeway, there are people standing up on these billboards, hand painting them. And that's what I wanted to do. And they said, we don't teach women how to do this. It's a man's profession. And all my life, I've wondered, should I walk down that street? And I got married, fell in love in high school. Dated the same guy 4.5 years. And so those kinds of things were filtered on the side of me. That's because I chose this life for what I do now. And if I gave this up to do that, would you really have your heart's desire? Would you feel fulfilled? In reality, this fulfills my soul because I help you out there survive your life. And I think about the people who don't hear about us, or, oh, she's a fortune teller, or she's a gypsy. I'm not. I'm just like average Joe American. And I could have done other things, stayed in Tucson, Arizona, and Professor Gary Swartz and be part of the Soul Phone and be on TV and all this. I just never felt that was my path. You know, I'm somebody of the masses. And so sometimes the realization of think what you want to do versus the reality of what you can do to help others on their journey, I call it service. And that you can't, you can't get around that. If there's any regret, I think I would say I should have spent more time running. I really was a good runner. I love sports. The artwork, I can get back to it. I'll be Grandma Moses and start painting at 80. That's a few years away, thank God. But anyway, Shar, you want to close this up? We went the hour.
Yep, we did it. We made it. We got through. Tomorrow night is going to be fun night. So tomorrow night is going to be we're going to continue building the Yoda Lego set. And that'll be a 2-hour show tomorrow night. Hopefully everything goes well. It'll be a 2-hour show tomorrow night. And we're going to continue building that. So that'll be a really fun night, for everybody. You guys can give me advice while I'm building and shit.
Hold on. There's a fella in the chat room. I want to answer a question. He died in a car crash. I need to know if he died before the fire. He was completely unconscious. He was knocked out, or he breathed the fire, the smoke, and he was gone before the fire hit him. So he did not feel anything. I don't know who you're talking about, but the picture I get was he's unconscious. He had no feeling of what's happening. So I don't know if that means he died before the fire or after the fire, but he was already gone. I also want to address a lot of times, I do not feel like this person created the accident. This was his, God said, this is the day for you. And so when he got out of body, he was greeted by a grandfather person, kind of a little bigger guy. And so that greeting, he got right out of the body. There was no lingering. And sometimes when I see fires or accidents like this, I say, who greeted you? And this grandfather person, a little bigger, broad shoulder, medium to larger boned, slimmer looking, not heavy. So that man was greeted by a grandfather or father figure. So I don't know how old he was. So I hope, I apologize. I hope I answered it good for you. So we'll do reading some other night. Tonight was this kind of stuff. Okay, sweetie. Yeah. What else for you?
All right. So tomorrow night will be a fun night again. I'm gonna be building that Yoda Lego. We only got through the first steps on it because it takes a long time. We're talking I think 1,500 pieces of that sucker, so it's not going to be a quickie thing to build, but it'll start shaping up. But I love it. I love when you guys give me input. So you'll be able to give me input and all that stuff on what I'm doing in there. You can watch me be blind and try to see the parts.
It's really kid stuff, fun stuff. But sometimes you just watch and it's like, oh, she's building that. Wow. It's fun. It's like, it's not TV, but it's kind of like watching someone else create something. Yeah. That's kind of fun.
There's a lot of layers involved, and when I get done, he's going to be as tall as this guy back here. So he's good size when he's done.
I can't see how big that guy is.
That would say
8 inches. Huh?
9, 10, 12 inches.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, so he'll be pretty good size.
What a kid you are.
I had built one previously, and my dog, being my dog and being young, ate part of him. So I'm trying to build this other one to make up for it. And to entertain you guys, of course. So I'll be doing that tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Thursday is a big day for us. It's the first day that we're doing our coffee with the Ghosthunter. 9:30 a.m. Pacific. That will be, you can sign up over at the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team Meetup. Nancy can vouch for me. I've been doing this for 18 years as a ghost hunter, so I have real good knowledge of here. What's going on? I'm not an expert. Nobody's an expert in this field.
I'm the one that got her started.
Yes.
She met me at the cemetery tours when I was giving Sacramento City Cemetery 10th and Broadway. Uh-huh. And I was giving tours for 6 years, and she's a little punky college student come out there. What this is about. I proved her that something's going on, and she went, oh, what is this? 18 years
18
ago?
years later,
Oh
here
my
we are.
gosh.
Yeah, here we are. So this is a chance for you to come in and pick my brain with questions about ghosts. You think you might have something with you? We can talk about that. You think it might be a poltergeist? We can talk about that. And if I don't have the answer, I will look it up and I will consult with Nancy or somebody else about it and get back to you with an answer. Okay?
And I
We
think
might
that
even yes.
don't assume you know is the biggest
Right.
statement I can say. You think
Right.
you got
Right.
something going on. Don't assume you know.
Yeah.
It could be your neighbor. I talked to somebody, and this neighbor woman came with some chocolate chip cookies. And I said, "Oh, it must be your mother or grandmother." I gave her all this description. She says, "Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong." She went like this. Oh my God, that was our neighbor. The woman was always making chocolate chip cookies, and she was, in the house with these family members. And she completely forgot about it. So don't assume you know. Get some help. Shar or somebody else if you really
Right.
have issues.
So
Okay.
this is a way for you to get to know me a little better. And me to get to know you. It's just a get together. I'll probably we'll probably do it for an hour, and just I don't drink coffee. I'm not allowed to, but I will be drinking my little hot cocoa bomb while we're sitting there. And like I said, you can pick my brain, ask me anything, and I'll be more than willing to answer your questions. If you want to know more about me, I'll be willing to answer your questions with that too. But I mean, we're just trying to raise money for the paranormal team, for the radio show, to keep us on the air, because we have expenses with this. And at $5 a person, if you go to Starbucks, it's going to cost you that much for a coffee anyway. But this way, you're at home and you're relaxed and
And your jammies.
in your jammies. And you're doing one of those where maybe your jammies are on the bottom and the top you look really nice. You know how people do when they do business meetings. Yeah, it could be anything like that. So come on over and join me. It's over at the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team meetup. You do have to sign up for the meetup, but there's no fee for that. Okay, that's it's like an online club for you guys that don't know what meetup is. So just go over to meetup.com, California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team meetup. Nancy's got a meetup as well. So yeah, so we're all over there. Okay. All right. So if you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. We are always equal opportunity here, and we are always trying to get the word out about our show as well, because that's what's important, right? Is to the more people that follow us and subscribe, the better. And thank you guys for leaving happy things up there. I see I see happy things up there. Woohoo, woohoo. Okay,
Now,
so go ahead.
this is a Facebook, right? So we don't get to see YouTube.
This is YouTube also.
Oh, I see the F by all these people in here. So their comments are only from the
Yeah,
Facebook.
but no, they're not because let's see. I have this discussion real quick. Let's see what we got tonight. We have FFFFF. We do have a Twitch up higher. Somebody's over from Twitch.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the pink person is from Twitch.
Oh, that was an odd thing your gameplay is fantastic.
Yeah. Twitch is mainly, a lot of Twitch is trying to get more people like us in different types of shows, but a lot of it's for gamers. That was where it started, was for gamers. So that's what it was. Anyway, I don't see anybody from YouTube tonight, but they will come later. They always do. We ended up for instance, the night I did or yesterday, I think ended up with 10 people from YouTube kicking in, but it was later on in the evening. So that will happen. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for coming, and I'm going to give you Nancy's contact information that I'm going to bug out because I have a class to teach. And if anybody, real quick before I finish, if anybody, wants to take the stress off after work, I do a meditation Tuesdays and Thursdays and Sundays, and it's right after the show. And I always pick anxiety or whatever's going on in the world. Tonight's going to be abundance. Get rich, right? Or get rich. Do an abundance one. And we do it online through StreamYard. And it usually lasts about 15, 20-minute meditation. And if that sounds like something you'd like to do, or even relaxation meditations or whatever. In fact, there was one meditation sounds just like my house. It was hysterical. I got into it. It was for relaxation. It says, okay, I want you to envision a nice quiet house. And all of a sudden, a dog runs in, barking. And I thought, that's my house. Then it says, You no sooner get that dog quieted down and 4 more dogs run in. And I thought that is definitely my house, and all the noise. So there's stuff like that. So if you're interested in doing some meditating, the more people we get, the more days we're going to do. So the whole thing is we're starting out 3 days a week right now with that meditation, and it's a monthly club. So once you pay the monthly fee, we do it all month long. Fresh meditations every time we do it. Okay. All right. Again, over at the California Haunts Meetup. All right, I'll shut up now, and we'll run Nancy's stuff, and I'll let you guys go. So here we go. Okay, the websites are nancymatz.com, all lowercase, nancymatzauthor.com. The N, the M, and the A are capped, and youtube.com/nancymatzpsychic. The N, the M, and the P are uppercase. She's got some books out. Help, get me out of this funk. Two Worlds, Developing Your Psychic Skills. And The Unwilling Sacrifice. And of course, you can get those at Amazon. Okay, guys, I'll see you tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. We're going to build Master Yoda. Have a great one.
Good night, everybody.